minds of the citizenry of the United States.
We have to stop thinking that just because somebody's involved in some agency, that they're smarter than you are.
Well,
I mean, you're the one who has the contact, the experience, the knowledge of that area more than anyone else. You're probably a lot smarter than the guy sitting in Washington trying to decide what to do with your money.
But the problem with Washington is they cripple people emotionally, physically, financially, and then they hand you a crutch and say, we're here to help.
Right.
So they do it to us.
Well, and they also design
And
it
then
so
they
if you have questions and problems and it's local, and you could go to the mayor's office here in Fort Wayne and complain. But if the thing is No Child Left Behind Act, are you going to rent a bus to go to Washington to yell at the... They make it impossible for you collectively to get to these agencies to even have, you know, any impact. But if Fort Wayne mayor does something, we're all here.
Right.
2 minutes, we can be at his door making sure he knows what we want and what we don't want. So it's also designed that you can't get there and complain or have your voice heard in a nice way. So that this administrative, I even saw a funny joke, someone said, we had talked on the last show about the feds getting more power. So what, are we going to get in an agency called the Department of Homeland Economics?
Sure,
We laugh, but we have CIA, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, we have NAFTA, AFTA, TAFTA, you know. I mean, where do you stop?
Yeah.
When do we come back to, give me my money, I'll take care of myself, thank you, have a nice day.
And I think one of the issues that you haven't brought up today from the press, but has certainly been in the Indiana press a bunch, is the study group on consolidation and streamlining, reorganization of local and county governments in the state of Indiana. The subcommittee was, of course, you know, created again with a 7-man panel, and we were, several of us, able to be present at his informal presentation at the GOP monthly meeting here recently. And it was really scary in that after the meeting, I actually spent a few minutes talking with the gentleman. And when we parted company, I had tried to make the point that the greatest strength and the greatest responsibility is carried off the best when governmental units are small and they're diverse and diffuse. That anarchy and tyranny actually finds its resting place in strong central control.
Well, hang on, you said a lot of information there. I wanted to clarify with this. Like, this is a commission report across Indiana that basically what it did is they were trying to figure out how to way to make government better. But instead of like just always lowering positions, it was they wanted a lot of these positions appointed.
Well, it was a whole issue of those who... It was the point of those that are administrative positions, the people just perform a job, versus the positions which are policy-making positions.
Correct.
And their contention was that people who merely perform a job, who are public servants like bookkeepers and accountants and so forth, shouldn't have to stand or should not stand for election. But people who are making public policy should stand. Well, that would mean that the county sheriff, among others,
would be appointed.
In their minds, in the minds of this commission, by a majority vote, would be appointed because he's largely an administrative person directing the work of a law enforcement agency across the county.
Oh, wow.
Now, when we finished our little discussion, and I, of course, disputed him on the validity of that point, he said, what we need to wrestle with, Mr. Martindale, is the fact that fewer and fewer people are voting. We need to do something to help mobilize the electorate. And I believe by voting for fewer people, we can actually create this kind of citizen involvement. And I said, but on the contrary, sir, if I know fewer and fewer people, because there are fewer of them to be known, to vote for, why would I appear to vote? It would be impossible.
Because our sheriff, I was reading an article about a sheriff in another county, amazingly enough, told the federal agents to get out of my county.
Great, yay.
The county sheriff has ultimate criminal control in his county.
And civil.
And civil. But he can tell the federal agents, and this one particular county, I can't remember now.
And state agents.
He told these federal agents, you are not obeying the Constitution. like they shouldn't enforce drug laws, that's a state thing, and there's no reason the government should ever be involved.
The
not
federal government.
Federal government should ever be involved in drugs at all. It's just, it's ridiculous, but that's a whole nother topic. But this sheriff told these agents, get out. So I do not want my sheriff to be appointed,
Well-
knowing that my sheriff has this kind of power, because we could utilize this position. This needs to be someone that respects the Constitution, respects the citizens of his community, because he has the power to tell the federal government, sorry, my jurisdiction.
Of all people who should be standing, you know, to public scrutiny and to be, his name appear on the ballot, it would definitely be the highest ranking law.
Absolutely.
And I have not scrutinized our sheriff at this point to know where he stands, so that'll be some homework for me.
Well, I forwarded the article about that sheriff
To our, wonderful,
Sheriff,
because I was very
yeah.
proud of that sheriff, because you don't know these things. They do not make this information. This is not what you see on CNN. What you see is the surge is working, housing market's fine, we'll take care of it, everybody have a nice day, your checks are still in the mail.
And we're printing more money, so.
No, they don't even say that, they just say checks are in the mail, they don't tell you how they do it to get you that.
You know, the most streamlined, if this is what they're looking for, the most streamlined type of government that you can have, is that a team. Yeah, you just,
We've already got that.
yeah, you just have a team.
Yeah, but we might as well do it in reality.
But you know what? That is why we have a constitution, because the guys that formed our constitution came from that kind of a scenario. They know what it's about.
And
so-
history has a way of repeating itself.
Exactly, and so now they're trying to go right back full circle and bring us back into one dominant order. And that is exactly why it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be a little bit difficult. It's supposed to be difficult so that they can't get away with all the